Many people will tell you what to do to get rich. There's a lot of information out there, but very few are going to tell you what not to do. Stick with me in this video so you can avoid those potholes that you're going to face on your road to your financial freedom. So one of the hardest things that you're going to face and you need to avoid is staying in your comfort zone. Many people need to get out of their comfort zone in order to reach their highest potential. You see, if you stay in the city that you were born, in the same job, doing the same thing day in and day out, you're never going to grow past that. You're going to see the same thing every day. And it's like that movie Groundhog Day where you wake up and it's the same thing over and over and over again. You have to get past your fears and get out in the world. So pretty much if you stay in your bubble, you know what you can make there. And you might be comfortable with that, but deep down you know that you can do so much more, okay? You'll never know how strong and how capable you are until you get out of that comfort zone, rubbing elbows with people that are actually in the game. You have to get in the game and out of the sideline to make the true money, okay? Avoid staying stagnant and expand your circle. Very big. I keep saying that in multiple videos that I have. It's like if you hang out with 5 rich people, you're going to be the 6th. If you hang out with 5 lazy people, you're going to be the 6th lazy. So you have to get out there, expand your circle, and rub elbows with the people that are actually in the game for you to grow in every sense of the word. You're going to grow financially, you're gonna grow personally, you might even grow spiritually, your health might get better. There's so many productive things that can happen to you once you take that step. But you're going to be very smart and you're going to be great. So you're going to get up and get out of your comfort zones. Okay, so avoid staying in your comfort zone. So another thing to avoid that very few tell you is working only for money. And you might tell me, oh, Carlos, what do you mean everybody works for money? Yes, at the end of the day, we all need money and we all work for money, right? But some people work for X amount and they're blinded by the number that they see up front. It's like, yes, I want to make $70,000 a year. That's my goal. Woohoo. All right, so this road is going to get me there quicker. So I made it. I landed this job, right? But how about if I tell you that maybe taking the slower route, saying, to give an example, maybe getting a $50,000 a year job, but you get equity in the company. Throughout the years, that equity is going to grow and you're going to be making way more than $70,000 that you might wanted initially, but you were so blinded by the shiny object in the beginning. I'm just make it to 70. But if you would have taken just a little bit of a cut up front and just been a little bit smarter, gotten equity in the job, in 2 or 3 years, you probably could have been making 90 or over 6 figures in that job. And that's what I mean by not working only for money. Of course, we have to get paid for what we do. But being smart about it, okay? The other thing is not working only for money is making or having your own business. Doing that side hustle, building that side hustle, that in the beginning, you might not be making as much money, but you know that the skills you're building in the future are gonna make you a lot more money than just having a regular 9-to-5 that you know what you're gonna make. And it's gonna be very hard to grow past that, which is why many people bounce around different jobs, because if you stay in one job, you're pretty much just gonna get enough for inflation and you're gonna be making the same amount of money. So having your own business, having a side hustle is gonna help you grow, is gonna help you make new skills or create new skills, is gonna help you just expand your knowledge, growth into a whole nother sector other than your 9-to-5. So that's what I mean by working only for money. Sometimes the bigger picture is worth more than that shiny number that you're being offered up front. Another big one that you need to avoid, and this is the big pothole that you need to avoid on your road to your financial freedom, and that is inflation of your lifestyle. Many people, they start making more money, and I'm sure you've heard this before plenty of times. Your income goes up, so your lifestyle goes up. You have a nice, Honda Odyssey van that's perfectly fine. It's probably even paid off, takes you from point A to point B. Nothing's wrong with it, right? But you make an extra $10,000 a year and you go and you sell that car and you go and buy one and finance one and get into debt because you want to drive a Mercedes SUV. So therefore, yes, you earned more, but guess what? Now you have to pay more. So there's some debt there that you created because yes, you can afford to pay the payments and the insurance, but at the end of the day, you're in debt. And this is what I mean by inflation. Stop trying to keep up with the Joneses. I've been seeing a lot online of when you start making money, keep your mouth shut. And I so agree with this. And I laugh because it made me chuckle the first time I saw one of these videos. Like, what are they talking about? And it makes so much more sense because if you are making more money, right, nobody's going to notice if you don't say anything. One, right? So if you're living in a comfortable apartment that you like, you enjoy, and you're driving your car that's paid off and you don't owe any money on it, but you're making substantially more money, the world around you isn't going to be like, why is she driving that car if she's making X amount of money? Because they don't know. Why is she living in this place when she can afford a big house? Because they don't know. They don't know your business. They don't know that you want to save and earn money and invest money. And right now, you don't need the big house and the car and the jewelry. You don't need none of that. It's none of their business. So yes, I'm going to agree with that and tell you to keep your mouth shut when you start making more money. But most importantly, avoid the inflation that you create yourself when you start making more money. Be smart, make smart decisions. You don't need that flashy car. You don't need a big, huge home. You don't need that right now. You need stability, businesses that keep coming in so then you can buy those things on passive incomes. And we'll get to that in another video. Working with other people. And I'm going to be very careful with this because you can't share your ideas or your dreams with everyone because everybody's mind is a different world and your dream might be too big for somebody else. I'm going to repeat that again. Your dream might be too big for somebody else's head. So you have to be careful who you choose to tell and discuss your plans with. You'll be the judge to decide how many you need in your group, but nobody gets to the top on their own. At some point in your journey, you're going to need help. There's people that can probably do things better than you can, and they can facilitate you to do other things that are more important, different tasks that maybe you're better at, and you can delegate certain tasks to someone that's better at that than you are. And those type of things is what I mean by working with other people. If someone's better than, setting up meetings, keeping schedules, more just time tracking than you are, hire someone to do that when you can afford to do so. So then you can open up free time so you can take care of another task like looking at, for example, online for new businesses that you want to buy or buildings or homes that you want to buy to invest in, and just open up your free time. Okay, so I'm not saying right off the bat you need that, but definitely something that you can look at in the future once you get the ball rolling. And a great one that I love, and I struggled with this myself, and it's when you have an idea or a dream, a lot of times you get excited and you start sharing it with all your friends and your family members and your parents and too many people that you don't need to be sharing it with. Why? Because everybody's going to have a spoon in your stew. And too many spoons in your stew, that means the stew is going to come out bad. Like I said earlier, everybody's mind is a different world. Not everybody's going to have your dreams or going to see your vision, okay? So if you start giving or asking for ideas or advice from people that don't have your dreams, well, they're going to pull you in a whole bunch of different directions. Okay, so this person's going to pull you this way, might instill their fears onto you. This person might tell you to wait a little bit when you can start. So I suggest having 2 to 3 people that you trust, that are your go-tos, and discuss it with them. And then at the end of the day, you have to make your own decisions. So avoid having too many spoons in your soup. Sometimes we do make the wrong decisions, and that's just life. Just go for it, take calculated risk, and just leave the rest up to God, okay? That's all you can do, but you're gonna have to try it at some point. This next one is a battle for many because once you do get the ball rolling, you get this ego and this pride and like, I did it, I made it, I know more than others. The reality is you don't. There's always going to be somebody out there that's been through what you've been through that knows more than what you know. So you always have to be open to knowing and accepting that you do not know it all. I'm one to say that obviously do not take advice from somebody that hasn't done what you have done. But If you're speaking to somebody that has more than you and is at the point where you want to go, you definitely want to learn from that person, okay? And this doesn't go with what I just said previously about having too many people's opinions in your dreams, right? This goes more for leave the door open. Don't let your ego and your pride block you from taking a less bumpier ride than you need to, because that person that's already there where you're at is going to give you some knowledge that you can probably use, or most likely will use, on your road to your financial freedom, and it's going to help you avoid certain problems that if you hadn't spoken to that person, you probably would have fell into that hole. So always keep your pride to the side, keep your ego down. You don't know it all. Just be open to advice from people that have been through what you've been through. And last but not least is avoid pointing the finger. You know, a lot of times when we do try something and it doesn't work out, we like pointing the fingers because it's harder or it's easier to point the finger than to take accountability for what we didn't do. You know, a lot of times we try something, but we could have done a better job at X, Y, and Z. We could have done more research. We could have focused more on detail. So many things, right? But it's easier to point the finger. And the faster you point the finger at yourself, the faster you'll get to the root of whatever problem it was, and you can make those adjustments and fix them. So next time you do come about this issue, you already know what to do and it won't happen again. But a lot of times, a lot of the pointing fingers and discussions and you did this and you didn't do this, it's just gonna hold you back because you're pretty much masking the main problem, the main issue, what's going on. And at the end of the day, if you have a business and you have a goal, it's your business and your goal. So at the end of the day, it falls on you. And that's probably something that you don't like, and it gives you a sour taste in your mouth. But you have to get used to that sour taste and avoid it next time, okay? So just learn, look yourself in the mirror, say if you do messed up, hey, you messed up, own it, and move on from it. So I'm going to close out this video here, guys. I upload a video every week. I'm going to try to go for 2 videos every week. If you're liking the content, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Turn on your notification bells and leave me a comment down below. I'd love to get to know you guys and speak to you guys on these topics that I'm making these videos on and help you guys on your financial journey. If I miss anything or you want to add on to anything that I'm saying, for sure, just write it down in the comment section down below. I'd love to hear it. I will catch you guys on the next one.